Reviewing a game like Thunder Force 2 can be kind of frustrating. It's like watching your young kid play Super Mario Bros. For the first time, kind of frustrating. Okay, jump here. Oh, wait. Nope. You forgot the mushroom, which makes you bigger. You know, the box with a question mark? Wait, can you go back? Oh, wait, no, that's right. You can only go back in the third game. Ah, whatever. Wait, you have to jump. To start off, I'm not really going to make this video into a typical video game review per se, but more of my opinion of it as an adult and the impact it had for the Sega Genesis. Now, I say it's frustrating to review a game like this because people who've never played a Thunder Force game before will usually be told to skip this game and dive right into the superior and much better known sequels, Thunder Force 3, and of course, the almighty Thunder Force 4, aka Lightening Force? No, wait, Lightening Force? Whatever, Lightning Force, which is arguably the best shoot-'em-up on the Sega Genesis, and depending on who you talk to, the best of the 16-bit generation. But it's understandable why someone would want to skip this game, because the sequels are pretty much superior in every single way. But we as retro gamers all know that just because the sequels are better, doesn't mean that the original or its predecessors should be ignored. Think about all the great games that got surpassed by its sequels. The first Diablo, Sonic 1, Streets of Rage 1, you get the idea. Those games are still awesome to this day, even though the sequels are more highly regarded in retrospect. Now, regarding Thunder Force 2, you need to rewind back to 1989. Yeah, 89. Back when Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade and Tim Burton's Batman was crushing it in the movie theaters. Before the internet. Back when the Sega Genesis was launched in North America. Yes, 1989 was an amazing time to be alive.
Let it go.
No cell phones, no constant need for validation online. Oh hey, don't forget to like this video. Just 8 and 16-bit video games that either disappointed the hell out of you or made the next few months of your life heaven on earth. Out of the 6 launch titles for the Sega Genesis, which included Altered Beast, Space Harrier II, Super Thunderblade, Blast Battle, and Tommy Lasorda Baseball, Thunder Force 2 was hands down the best out of the 6. Now, I'm sure there's a few of you out there that will put Altered Beast as your favorite, or maybe even Tommy Lasorda Baseball if you like sports that much. And I get it. I can't argue too much with you on that one. But for me, Thunder Force 2 blows them all away. Now, the way I look at it, if you picked up a Sega Genesis at launch, chances are you probably didn't own an NES. And if you did, congrats, because you're a spoiled scumbag and I hate you. But think about it, most people who got a Sega Genesis back in 1989 at launch probably had an Atari 2600 or nothing at all. That was the case for me. I went from an Atari 2600 to the Sega Genesis and it blew my mind. Now, if you owned an NES back in 1989, you were getting games like Mega Man 2, Dragon Warrior, Ninja Gaiden, whatever, TMNT, DuckTales, Tecmo Bowl, Tetris, Baseball Stars. It was a huge lineup back in 1989. Shit, Super Mario Bros. 3 didn't even come out yet. There was no reason to pick up a Sega Genesis at launch if you owned an NES back in 1989. Unless, of course, like I said before, you are a spoiled scumbag. But think about it. Imagine going from this to this. Talk about mind-blowing. And that's where the significance of Thunder Force 2 comes in. This game was mind-blowing upon release. The true definition of bringing the arcade home. Later 1989 releases such as Golden Axe, Revenge of Shinobi, Truxton, and Ghouls and Ghosts, all masterpieces in my opinion, pretty much made the Sega Genesis a must-have by early 1990. Alright, let's get started into the main gameplay. I'm sorry, what the hell did he just say? Don't bullshit me. No one, and I mean no one, knew what this guy said without looking it up. All I heard was, good luck. Thanks to Google, we all know that he says, this is Excelsior, Roger, good luck. Maybe I'll get that tattooed above my ass one day. Or put it on my tombstone, whatever. Getting back into the meat and potatoes of the game, Thunder Force 2 is a very good game. Very underrated in retrospect in my opinion. Sure, at launch this was classic, but it has fallen out of the spotlight due to its superior sequels like I said before. The stages are split into 2 formats, the free directional overhead stage, or top view stages if you want to call it that, and the classic horizontal scrolling stages, which are the standard for most shoot-'em-ups. As we all know, the classic horizontal scrolling stages would become the series mainstay for the superior sequels. The horizontal scrolling stages are as classic as they come, non-stop arcade action and wave after waves of enemies that are looking to crush your soul. Weapon upgrades galore that you can switch up to strategize for the path of least resistance. If you die, you dies. Yeah, you guessed it. You lose all power-ups. This is the only game in the franchise where you lose all power-ups when you die on the normal difficulty, as opposed to losing only one power-up per life in the succeeding games. But these stages are hard as hell, even frustrating at times. But at the end of the day, it's a fair and fantastic challenge. The classic, the more you play, the more you memorize the levels and the enemy patterns. I can't even imagine what it would be like to play this game back in 1989. Again, I had an Atari 2600 as a kid, and I played it on a 7-inch old black and white CRT TV. If I had this game hooked up to a bigger CRT TV, I would probably shit my pants. Literally, I wouldn't leave the TV and I would eventually poop my pants. I'm not even kidding. Also, look at this boss, speaking of Atari 2600. Kind of reminds me of Yar's Revenge on the Atari 2600. Anywho, the top view perspective levels are a nice change of pace, and the player has to locate the cores of the enemy bases and destroy them. After this is accomplished, the stage automatically ends. A minute and 55 seconds. A minute longer than I usually last. I'll take it. Now these levels are hands down the most frustrating part of the game in my opinion, which is probably why they removed them in later games. But in my opinion, these levels are frustrating for 3 reasons. Number 1, you can't lock your ship in place and fire in one direction. This is so annoying and I'm not used to it, but whatever. You can only fire in the direction that you're moving in. This is where your back weapon becomes more important than your twin weapons in certain areas, because you'll need to destroy those enemies that are tailgating you more than a 17-year-old in a BMW. Number 2, there's no goddamn map or radar. Like, would it kill them to place a little radar map in the corner to let you know where these bases are? Would be nice to sit there and be like, oh, the last remaining base is in the upper left-hand corner and I'm in the right bottom corner. I better move up there. But no, just the classic drive around, trial and error, and good luck, cause you gotta memorize the level. Number 3, these goddamn walls on the top view stages. They come out of nowhere. You gotta pay extra close attention or else you're gonna crash and die. You're gonna need Dominic Hasek or Marty Brodeur reflexes for this level, let me tell you. There's certain breaks in the wall and that's where this level becomes challenging. Same with the later stages. Gotta shoot through the wall and stay on screen or else the walls will regenerate when you get back on screen. Christ, show some goddamn mercy, man. But look, even though these levels are frustrating as hell, they're still really fun and look amazing for a 1989 game. Honestly, they still look good for a game today. We all know that most 2D games have aged better than early 3D graphics. These levels remind me of one of my favorite games on the Sega Genesis, which I highly recommend, Granada, or Granola, or X-Granada. I'm pretty sure it's called Granada, but anyway. Now this game did the top view run and gun correctly. A map, a lock-on controller system for your weapon. Now this is how you do it. Overall, this game is still great even to this day. It's one of my favorites. Well, I don't know if I would say it's one of my favorites, but it's a game that I really, really enjoy. Even the music in this game is great. The Thunder Force series alone has become one of my favorite soundtracks over the years, and I highly recommend checking them out. But besides the fun gameplay, the great music, the tough but fair challenge, there's really nothing much else to say in regards to Thunder Force 2. Sure, it's not a masterpiece, it's not a 10 out of 10, but it's still a solid game and a great entry in the Sega Genesis library. As I said before, it's frustrating to recommend this game because some people get very frustrated by the overhead stages and the fact that this game is overshadowed by its older brothers. The Thunder Force series kind of reminds me of those famous hockey families of 4 brothers where, you know, the oldest only played in the minors but the other 3 younger ones played in the NHL. This is what Thunder Force 2 is. He's the guy who never made it to the NHL. He was still a great player in the AHL, but when you think about it, he's still better at hockey than most hockey players out there. Don't overlook this game. Give it a chance. There's still a lot of fun to be had with this one. A loose copy of this game goes for like $13, and complete in box can go for under $40 through an auction, so it's an easy pickup. Even if you don't want to play on the Sega Genesis, there are other options to play this game. For example, the Sega Genesis port was later included in Thunder Force Gold Pack Volume 1 for the Sega Saturn, which I'm pretty sure that's pretty expensive now, so I don't know if I even recommend picking that up. But it was also re-released on the Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pack, so you can check that out there for free with your overpriced subscription from Nintendo. Also, I should note that this game introduces the signature weapon of the series, the Hunter. I can't really describe how awesome this weapon is in words, you just have to play the game and find out for yourself.